Today, we are going to talk about symmetrical shapes and asymmetrical shapes, which is which. And I'm going to introduce you to radial symmetry and how to cut shapes out that are radially symmetrical, which leads into two projects. The one I'm going to talk about now is making these beautiful 3D paper cards. Let's get going. Hello, my talented artists. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's talk about symmetry. Reflection symmetry, or another name for it is bilateral symmetry, is when one half of a shape is the reflection of the other half. And so if you fold it in half, they match up, just like this heart. The line where you fold it, that dotted line in the middle, is called the line of symmetry. Here are two symmetrical shapes, and here are their lines of symmetry. They are both good examples of reflection symmetry. Out of these three shapes, there are only two that are symmetrical. One of the shapes is asymmetrical. Which one do you think is asymmetrical? That's right, number 3. Number 3 is asymmetrical because no matter which way you would fold it, none of the sides would match up. There are no lines of symmetry. Let's look at some shapes, and if something is asymmetrical, I want you to say asymmetrical. And if something is symmetrical, I want you to say symmetrical. But whatever your choice is, just say it one time after each shape. All right, let's begin. That's right, symmetrical. Good thinking, symmetrical. Yep, asymmetrical. That's right, symmetrical. Yes, symmetrical. You got it, asymmetrical. Correct, asymmetrical. Now the question is, how do we as artists make symmetrical or asymmetrical shapes? So let's start with a leaf. I'm of course going to work with a pen, but I want you to work with a pencil. It's easier to erase. If I wanted to make a leaf that was asymmetrical, that means not the same on both sides, I can just draw, any old leaf shape. And as you can see, if I drew a line down the center, it's not the same on both sides. It's not a mirror image of the other one. But asymmetry is beautiful too. Now, if I want two of these asymmetrical leaves, I would fold my paper in half and carefully, using the old slow and low, that is the tempo, carefully cut it out. Maybe you could sing with me. Slow and low, that is the tempo. If you wanna be neat, you gotta go slow, slow and low, that is the tempo. If you wanna be neat, you gotta go slow, slow and low, that is the tempo. If you wanna be neat, you gotta go slow. Now I know I'm using a very pointy scissor. This is more of an adult scissor, so make sure you're using your safety scissors that aren't pointy at the tip. And now, because I folded my paper in half, and I cut the same thing, look, if you just look at these two empty spaces, they are symmetrical. Pretty cool, right? And if I arrange them directly across from each other, thinking about that line of symmetry, they become symmetrical. But if you're looking at just one, it is an asymmetrical shape. Let's save these two asymmetrical leaves. Pause here to cut out asymmetrical shapes. And now I'm going to teach you how to cut out symmetrical shapes. There's a tricky way to cut out symmetrical shapes. I'm going to fold my green paper in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half so that it makes a really skinny piece of paper. And then I have to find the folded side that has no open papers coming up. This side has some open papers. So I want to find the one that's just a fold. That's where I'm going to stop and start my line. So I'm actually just going to put a dot on the top and bottom of the folded side. Where it's just folded, there's a dot. And then I'm going to draw half of a leaf. Whatever kind of leaf you want to draw. Help me by singing that song. Slow and low, that is the tempo. If you wanna be neat, you gotta go slow. Slow and low, that is the tempo. If you wanna be neat, you gotta go slow. So now, because I cut my shape on a folded piece of paper, the fold is actually the mirror line or the line of symmetry. And now I have two leaves that are symmetrical. So this is a symmetrical leaf. This is an asymmetrical leaf or shape. They're both valuable in art. Pause to cut out symmetrical shapes. Now we're going to move on to something called radial symmetry. Radial symmetry is symmetry around a central axis or a central point, like a starfish. When you look at this starfish, you'll notice, as with many things in nature, that the symmetry is nearly always approximate. That means it's not perfectly symmetrical, but when you look at a man-made object that's radially symmetrical, like this bicycle wheel, or this aerial photo of the building, the Pentagon, so that's architecture, you're going to find pretty close to perfect radial symmetry. So we are going to cut out a radially symmetrical shape. I want you to look very carefully at your piece of paper, and I want you to just try to find the center and put a little dot. That's called eyeballing it. You're not measuring it, you're just guessing by looking kind of on top of it. Where is the center? You're just guessing where the center is by looking carefully. And then around that dot, you're just going to draw a little circle, which you want to also be in the center of the paper. And now we're going to fold it. But each time you fold it, you have to make sure that you can see part of this circle. So if I fold it like that, I can't see my circle anymore. So I would need to go, whoops, let me fold it this way so I can see my part of my circle. We're going to fold it one time, and this time we're not going to fold it the skinny way. We're going to fold it away, which creates the opportunity for radial symmetry. As you can see, I can still see that little curved line, which is part of my circle. That is the center of the paper, if you remember. So if we open it up, we can see that's the center. That's why we make that line, because we need to know where the center of the paper is. We are going to draw parts of petals so that we can have a radially symmetrical flower. Draw a dot on the corner to the right of your curved line corner and to the left of your curved line corner. And you are going to make a dot in the center of the curved line. So I'll make a bigger dot so you can see. Dot, dot, dot. Looks like a baseball diamond. Next, we are going to draw lines that represent half of a petal. So you are going to begin the lines at the center dot, and you are going to draw one line to one corner dot and the other line to the other corner dot. So I'm just going to do a curved line with a little point and another one curved line with a little point, like that. Now we're going to cut along the lines of the petals. We're not going to cut anywhere near in that original circle we drew. Now here's a tip. If you get into a tight corner when you're cutting and you're in the middle of the paper, stop, take your scissor out, and start again at the edge. If your paper doesn't pull out, it's not quite cut all the way, don't yank it out. Put your scissor back in and just make a tiny little cut. There, I got it. So now we're going to open it up. And we have a flower with radial symmetry. Now let's see you do it. Pause to cut out radially symmetrical shapes. Now I'm going to teach you how to make a radially symmetrical flower with 8 petals. So again, I want you to make the dot in the middle of the paper, and I want you to make that circle in the middle, as close to the middle as you can. You can see mine's not perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna fold it so that you can see that circle, and then fold it again. Now you're gonna make a dot on each corner that's next to the corner with the curved line. Dot, dot, and then you're going to make another curved line. So it's going to kind of mimic this curved line. It's going to go up, 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 down, down like a rainbow curve. So it should look like part of a donut or a dog going around in circles, I guess. And then you're going to make a dot in the middle of the big curved line. This time we are going to try to keep our petal kind of narrow, and I'm going to just do a curved petal without a point at the tip. So I'm going to start at my center point, and I'm just going to draw a curved line, and it needs to touch that dot and go back down, drawing the whole petal. Now we already had practice drawing half of a petal, and that's what we're going to do again. We're going to start at the curved line, and we're going to make half of a petal, trying to sort of mimic this petal, going up, 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 and then ending at that dot. And we're going to do another one on the other side, up and ending at that dot. What we're going to do is we're only going to cut along the petal lines. I'm not going to cut this space that I left here. I'm just going to let that be part of the flower. So slow and low. That is the tempo. And I'm going to stop. Remember what I said about getting into a tight space when you're cutting? I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to start and aim for this line. Start at the edge of the paper. It's a little cutting trick. That's still stuck. Anybody remember what I should do? Should I yank it out? No, I should gently, carefully put my scissor back in, make another cut. Look, it just fell out. Just remember that the slower you go, the better your craftsmanship will be. I'm gonna open it up. Another example of radial symmetry.